Ever wondered why sometimes your database feels like a tangled mess? That's where the concept of database design and normalization comes in. Picture this. You're trying to navigate through a maze of data, but it feels like you're wading through a swamp. You're finding duplicates in your data, inconsistencies are popping up left and right, and accessing the information you need feels like a Herculean task. Sounds familiar? That's what happens when a database isn't properly designed or normalized. Database design is not just about creating tables and linking them together. It's an art, a science, and a bit of magic all rolled into one. It's about organizing your data in a way that not only makes sense, but also makes your life easier. It's about ensuring that your data is consistent, reliable, and easily accessible. Without proper design, a database can quickly become a hotbed of redundancy. Duplicate data can start popping up, eating up storage space, and causing confusion. Imagine having the same customer listed multiple times in your database. Not only is it a waste of resources, but it also makes it difficult to get a clear picture of your customer base. Inconsistency is another issue that arises from poor database design. If data isn't standardized or correctly linked, you can end up with conflicting information. One record might say that a customer lives in New York, while another says they live in Los Angeles. Which one is correct? Without proper design, it's hard to tell. Accessing data should be a breeze, not an uphill battle. If a database isn't well designed, finding the information you need can be like finding a needle in a haystack. This not only wastes time, but also makes it harder to make informed decisions. That's where normalization comes in. It's a process that eliminates redundancy, enforces consistency, and simplifies data access. It's like giving your database a good spring cleaning, getting rid of the clutter and organizing everything neatly. So let's dive deeper into the world of database design and normalization using Microsoft Access. Before we begin, it's important to understand a few basic concepts. In the world of Microsoft Access, a table is like a spreadsheet. It's a place where you store related data in rows and columns. Each row in a table represents a record, which is simply an individual entry of data. The columns, on the other hand, are fields, distinct pieces of information within a record. Now, let's talk keys. The primary key is a special field in a table that uniquely identifies each record. Think of it as the fingerprint of the data. A foreign key, conversely, is a field in one table that matches a primary key in another, creating a link between the two. This brings us to relationships. Relationships in Microsoft Access define how data in tables interact. For example, a customer can place many orders, but each order is linked to one customer. With these basics in mind, we can now delve into the design process. First things first, how do we design a database in Microsoft Access? Well, it's not as daunting as it may sound. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1 is defining the purpose of your database. What kind of information do you want to store? What queries do you anticipate running? Your answers will guide your design decisions down the line, so it's crucial to be thorough. Next, we identify the tables. Each table in your database should represent a unique category of data. For instance, if you're building a customer database, you might have tables for customers, orders, and products. The key is to avoid duplicating information across tables. Step 3, we determine the fields. Each table is made up of smaller pieces of data called fields. In our customers table, for example, we might have fields for customer name, contact number, and email address. Each field should contain the smallest useful piece of information. Now, on to specifying primary keys. Every table in your database needs a primary key, a unique identifier for each record. This could be something like a customer ID in the customers table or an order ID in the orders table. Primary keys allow us to swiftly locate specific records. Finally, we set up relationships between the tables. This is where the power of a relational database like Microsoft Access really shines. Let's say we want to find out what products a particular customer has ordered. By setting up a relationship between the customers and orders tables, we can easily link a customer to their respective orders. And there you have it, a step-by-step guide to designing a database in Microsoft Access. It's a process of careful planning and organization, but the payoff can be huge. A well-structured, efficient database that makes information retrieval a breeze. Now that we have a well-designed database, it's time to normalize it. Normalization might sound like a daunting task, but it's actually a straightforward process. It's like organizing your closet. You wouldn't throw everything in a pile, would you? No, you'd sort items into categories: shirts, pants, accessories. That's normalization, but for databases. Normalization in Microsoft Access is all about organizing data to reduce redundancy and improve data integrity. It's a process of structuring a relational database in accordance with a series of so-called normal forms to eliminate data redundancy and improve data integrity. Think of normal forms as the rules of the game. They guide us to a more efficient, organized database. So let's dive into these normal forms. First up, we have the first normal form, or 1NF. This rule is all about ensuring that each set of column value combinations in a table is unique. It's like making sure you don't have two identical shirts in your closet. Next, we have the second normal form, or 2NF. This rule applies to databases that have composite primary keys, which are keys that consist of more than one column. In 2NF, all non-key columns must be fully dependent on the full set of primary key columns. It's like organizing your shirts by both color and style. Last but not least, we have the third normal form, or 3NF. This rule ensures that all non-key columns are mutually independent. It's like making sure that your shirts, pants, and accessories are all sorted independently. To achieve these normal forms in Microsoft Access, we start by identifying all the dependencies in our data. Then we divide our data into multiple tables so that each table serves a single purpose. We also establish relationships between these tables using foreign keys. So remember, normalization isn't about making things complicated. It's about making our database more efficient, reliable, and flexible. It's about having a well-organized closet for our data. Congratulations, you have just normalized a database in Microsoft Access. We've covered a lot today, so let's quickly recap. We kicked off with the basics, understanding the pivotal role of database design and how it underpins effective data management. We then dove into the nitty-gritty of Microsoft Access, a powerful tool that can turn anyone into a database whiz. We explored how to design a database, discussing the importance of tables, relationships, and key fields. We also stressed the significance of normalization, a process that eliminates redundancy and maintains data integrity. We walked through a step-by-step process of database design and normalization, highlighting how each step contributes to the overall robustness of your database. From creating tables to establishing relationships and finally normalizing your data, we've given you a comprehensive toolkit to build efficient, effective databases in Microsoft Access. With these skills in your toolbox, you're well on your way to becoming a master of databases in Microsoft Access. Until next time, happy designing and normalizing.